talk about the WNBA and the league's demise now that Caitlin Clark is no longer going to play this season. The WNBA and the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White, Amber Cox, all the way up and including, let's just keep it real, Kathy Engelbert, Adam Silver, the National Basketball Association, everybody that participated in the FAR.
The WNBA just lost its brightest star, and the fallout is nothing short of catastrophic. Caitlin Clark, the player who single-handedly carried arenas, television ratings, and the hopes of an entire league, won't play for the rest of the 2025 season. What began as a promising sophomore campaign has now unraveled into a multi-layered disaster, threatening the very future of the league. Fans are furious. Ticket sales are plummeting, and social media is erupting with calls for boycotts and accountability. But here's the kicker. The injuries are only half the story. The real crisis lies in systemic failures, mismanagement, and a league unwilling to protect its star player, and the consequences are far-reaching, affecting not just one team, but every city, sponsor, and fan invested in the WNBA. Section 1. The injury spiral. It all started with a seemingly minor quad strain back in May. At first, it seemed like a bump in the road, the kind of injury a superstar might overcome with proper rest and recovery. But then, week after week, setbacks kept piling up. Groin strains in June and July, each more serious than the last, culminating in a bone bruise by August that finally forced Clark out for the remainder of the season. Fans watched in disbelief as her body repeatedly broke down under relentless pressure. This wasn't just bad luck. These were preventable injuries caused by overuse, constant physical targeting, and a lack of proper medical management. Each game, each practice, Clark was pushed harder than her body could handle, and the cost would be catastrophic. And while fans saw the visible struggle on the court, what they didn't see was the cumulative toll these injuries were taking behind the scenes, a slow unraveling that was as frustrating as it was avoidable. Section 2, targeting and referee. Negligence from the very first game. It was obvious that Clark was being singled out. She was shoved into screens, grabbed by the jersey, body checked off the ball, and yet referees repeatedly ignored these violations. Possession after possession, Clark absorbed hits that would have earned fouls against any other player. The pattern was undeniable, and even major media outlets, including the Washington Post, took notice. Clark became the league's literal face, yet she was treated as if she were just another rookie learning the ropes. This negligence didn't just endanger Clark. It sent a message to every player and fan that the league was willing to gamble with its most important asset. And as these incidents accumulated, the question became clear. How much longer could Clark survive this without long-term consequences? Section 3. Exploitation versus protection. Caitlin Clark is more than a player. She is the engine of the WNBA's growth. She fills arenas in Dallas, New York, Las Vegas, and Chicago. Networks paid record sums to broadcast her games, and sponsors eagerly aligned themselves with her image. Yet the league's actions were completely misaligned with her value. Instead of prioritizing her safety, Clark was pushed into back-to-back games, heavy travel schedules, and relentless defensive attention. Every game risked further injury. Every play was a gamble. Fans, sponsors, and media saw Clark as the future of the league, yet the WNBA treated her like a disposable rookie. This wasn't just poor management. It was an entire system built to maximize short-term revenue at the expense of player health and long-term sustainability. And when that strategy backfired, the consequences would ripple far beyond the individual player. Section 4. The fallout on fans. The fan reaction was immediate and brutal. Outrage replaced disappointment as people demanded refunds, shared canceled ticket orders, and openly discussed boycotting games. For months, the league had given day-to-day updates, keeping fans on the hook while insiders likely knew Clark's return was highly unlikely. Ticket resale values plummeted overnight. What had been a hyped all-star weekend suddenly felt hollow, a stark reminder that fan trust is fragile and not easily regained. But the anger wasn't just about money. Fans felt manipulated, misled, and exploited. They had invested time, money, and emotion believing they would witness the rise of a league-defining talent, only to be confronted with the harsh reality of mismanagement and broken promises. Section 5, the commissioner's response or lack thereof. When Commissioner Kathy Engelbert finally addressed Clark's situation, the statement was polished, corporate, and entirely devoid of accountability. There was no recognition of referee negligence, no acknowledgement of the repeated physical targeting that led to Clark's injuries, and certainly no promise to protect players in the future. Fans instantly saw through the veneer. Instead of leadership, they encountered sanitized corporate optimism, a pivot to expansion and revenue growth. The very officials who allowed Clark to be repeatedly assaulted were untouched. The message was clear. Profits mattered more than people. And as the backlash mounted, Engelbert's inaction only confirmed what fans had long suspected. The league was out of touch with its players and its audience. Section 6, collapse of trust and calls for boycott. Once trust was broken, the fallout was swift and severe. Sponsors and networks watched ratings plunge. Attendance fell across multiple cities. Social media erupted with organized boycott movements, promising half-empty arenas during the playoffs. Fans weren't satisfied with statements anymore. They demanded real accountability, proper officiating, and a league that would defend its stars. Caitlin Clark's sidelining became more than an injury story. It evolved into a financial, cultural, and reputational crisis for the entire WNBA. And while some may have dismissed fan outrage as overreaction, the consequences were tangible. Empty seats, plummeting viewership, and a league struggling to maintain credibility. Section 7. What comes next? Looking ahead, the questions are critical. Can Caitlin Clark return to her previous form in 2026? Will the Indiana Fever recover from this devastating blow? Can the WNBA rebuild the trust of its fans, players, and sponsors? The short-term future is precarious. The league cannot rely on a single superstar while ignoring her safety. If systemic changes aren't made now, this collapse may be just the beginning. Fans remember betrayal. Sponsors remember empty seats. Networks remember declining ratings. And most importantly, athletes remember who they can trust to protect them or who will leave them exposed. Conclusion, a league at a crossroads. Caitlin Clark's season didn't end because of bad luck or isolated incidents. It ended because the league failed to protect its brightest star, betraying fans, compromising its financial model, and risking its reputation in one fell swoop. The WNBA now faces a critical choice: reform and prioritize player health, or watch the momentum it has painstakingly built crumble entirely. The lessons of 2025 are stark. Stars aren't just athletes, they're the backbone of the industry. Neglect them and collapse isn't a possibility. It's a certainty. Fans, sponsors, and the league itself are watching closely. Will Caitlin Clark return stronger than ever? Will the Indiana Fever endure? Will the WNBA finally stand up for its players? The next chapter is being written right now, and the stakes could not be higher. CTA, let us know in the comments. Do you think the WNBA is fully to blame for this mess? Like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell to never miss our next deep dive into the biggest stories in sports. Caitlin Clark's absence didn't just affect the Indiana Fever, it exposed a league-wide problem. Every WNBA franchise now faces the reality that relying on a single star can backfire disastrously. Ticket sales, TV ratings, merchandise, and sponsorship deals all skyrocketed thanks to Clark. But the league's short-sighted decisions revealed that their growth model is dangerously fragile. Teams were relocated to larger arenas to capitalize on her name, and now those same arenas sit partially empty. Beyond numbers, this situation has shaken the confidence of players, coaches, and even prospective talent. Young athletes watching this season may question whether the league will protect them or treat them as disposable. The WNBA has always prided itself on empowering women in sports. But in 2025, fans and players alike witnessed a shocking contradiction. Star power celebrated, health ignored. So what can the WNBA learn from this fiasco? The first step is acknowledging the mistakes, from the referees who repeatedly ignored fouls to the executives who prioritized revenue over player safety. Transparency isn't just a buzzword here. It's a necessity. Fans want clarity, athletes want protection, and the league's credibility depends on it. There's also a lesson for the business model itself. Relying on a single player to drive growth is not sustainable. The WNBA must invest in broader talent, strengthen officiating, and ensure medical staff have the authority to prioritize health over revenue. Caitlin Clark's story is a cautionary tale, but it's also a chance for reform. If the league acts decisively, it can emerge stronger, restoring faith with fans and proving that the WNBA can protect its stars while growing sustainably. If not, the backlash, boycotts, and distrust will linger far longer than this single season.